What's up, guys and girls? Welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about Atreus and the hidden plot to make him into a much darker character, but we never saw this actually go through. But there are hints and pieces of this hidden plot line that's scattered through God of War 2018, God of War Ragnarok, and God of War Lore and Legends. Of course, we have to include some of the hidden dialogue that Atreus does have in God of War Ragnarok. We're gonna go into all of that. A lot of people I know don't really like Atreus, but it's clear that Santa Monica is intentionally gonna give him a story within the God of War universe on his own. Now, we're gonna get into all of this evidence. I do appreciate a like on this video and a subscription. It helps out the channel more than you think. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So like I said, there was plans to make him into a much darker character, and this resembles a lot of traits that Kratos had. Let's start with God of War 2018. Remember that section of the game when Atreus learned that he was a god and after a while became corrupted by this information? Well, that section of the game was supposed to be far longer than was actually shown. In a interview with Cory Barlog, the director of the game, he confirmed this. This is what he had to say.
The first thing would be Atreus' sort of moment of ego, right? He goes through that period of time where he starts to realize, like, we're gods, like, this is awesome, I can do whatever I want, right? Now, in a real human life, that takes a few years to develop, right? You go through a lot of stuff, you start to lose connection with reality simply because you start to believe your own hype. And we didn't have that kind of time that it really would take, but we did have a lot more time than was allotted in the game. That was a section that we ended up cutting a good 2 hours out of. So there would have been about 110 minutes, maybe, probably to be fair, of Atreus kind of getting more and more of, as we call, jerk mode.
Now, I'm going to expand more in this video, but when Atreus is in an extreme emotional state, whether it be anger or sadness or even death, somehow he has an effect of the weather. For now, here is a statement from the director that confirmed that when Atreus was in his death-like state or very close to dying in God of War 2018, that the world was reacting to him. Here is what Cory had to say.
The world has changed. You know, the red storm, as we're calling it, which is the epicenter right over their house, is off in the distance, and you kind of have this weird, almost bluish gray haze everywhere. It's the world is reacting to this imbalance. The world is reacting to Loki being near death, right?
Now, I will show more examples of Atreus in anger, changing the weather and having an effect on it, but for now, let's move on to Lore and Legends. In the book Lore and Legends, we get a lot of information about Atreus and Kratos in between God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok, dealing with the weather of Fimbulwinter. In this book, Atreus shows signs of bloodlust and rage towards the Aesir. Like here on this page when he says he wants Ragnarok to come to watch Odin and Thor die. And on this page he says he can't wait till the next time he gets to fight an Asgardian. It seems the developers were dropping hints that Atreus was going to be a much darker character in God of War Ragnarok. But speaking of Ragnarok, it's time we move on to the game. To start this, there's actually hidden dialogue that Atreus has that really projects him as a much darker character. Here is a video from another God of War content creator. His name should be on your screen now, and this is what he uncovered from Atreus by going into the files of the game. Take a look at his dialogue.
And then Kratos continues, "Your behavior since Midgard, this is not what I taught you. You continue to speak of vengeance. It will not give you the satisfaction you seek." And then Atreus replies with, "This is the part that's very focused on Atreus. Not what you taught me, close your heart to it. That's what you taught me. How is this any different? If we're gonna take revenge on Odin for Brock's death, this is how we have to do it. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to see our friend avenged. Are you? Is there something you do differently? Some other option we have that I'm missing? I want Odin dead. I want Ragnarok to burn everything he's worked for to the ground. That's what I want."
So just like God of War 2018, Atreus was most likely gonna have an arc in Ragnarok that sets him down a much darker path, wanting the Aesir to pretty much burn for everything. And I think that it's really sad we didn't get to see this arc play out in both games. The first game, you know, there was some there, but it obviously wasn't as much as Corey wanted to put in. So it really sucks. But let's move on to the effect and the weather thing I talked about before. So remember when I was talking about it, that when he's in a emotional state, or you know, he is dying, the world somehow reacts to that? Well, there's two examples of this in God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. First, let's talk about Ragnarok. During the Ironwood section, when learning of Kratos' death being depicted on the mural, he goes into this very brief moment of not being able to control his emotions. However, if you take a look, the clouds actually do get darker during this moment. Now, at first, when I first played the game, I thought, hey, it was just kind of like a cinematography type of thing, but no, it actually, the world itself gets darker. Here are some visuals on your screen so you can actually see this clearly.
No. It's not right. That can't be what happens. No. This isn't real. Ironwood's not real. Ungar's not real. None of this is real.
But the first time this happened was in God of War 2018. When Atreus was corrupted by learning he was a god, he was really mad at Sindri, and the lightning and the weather change is perfectly in sync with Atreus' words and his anger. Take a look.
Let me guess. Your brother isn't as talented as you, and his work is junk.
Those things are accurate. Your point?
It's all you ever talk about, over and over. Do something about it or shut up already.
I see.
Yeah! We're sick of hearing about little people's little problems.
Now, I believe that Atreus is the one that started the lightning and the thunder. However, I do think later on when you're scaling up the mountain, that's actually Thor beating Magni. Thor and Atreus work very closely in God of War Ragnarok, so this could be a type of symbolism thing. But Atreus did start that lightning because the lightning and thunder is perfectly in sync with his anger in the first game. And in the second game, when he's angry about learning that Kratos is going to die and he's going to serve Odin, this really pisses him off, and once again he changes the weather. But this isn't the first time we see this, because remember at the very start of Ragnarok, Atreus turned into a bear because he was extremely angry and this power just came out of him. Anger is a constant point for God of War, especially when it comes to Kratos, so it makes sense that his son to show some power when he's angry. From statements of the directors to lines in the book, lore and legends, to cut dialogue and a story that was supposed to be there, this is every single time that Atreus showed some level of bloodlust. I'll be perfectly honest with you, I wish we got to see this arc play out in God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, and it sucks that it was completely cut from the game. I just want to say, I think that a lot of people's perception of Atreus could get turned around if they give him something more. God of War is kind of a mature series, and it really doesn't really feel like Atreus fits that narrative. Even though Ragnarok was a bit lighter than most of the other God of War games, I really want to see Atreus go through some things like Kratos did, you know? But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think about a much darker Atreus going forward. I'm gonna be out of here. Thank you guys and girls for listening. Deuces.